Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
That said, this is almost 6 years ago exactly now as of this video. I had not spoken to him in person or on social media. He started the conversation. You know what he said? 3 words. You are terrific. Now bear in mind, this is back before I was blessed with the followership I have now. I had fewer than 10,000 followers on Instagram, very small Facebook presence, wasn't even on TikTok at the time. But the fact of the matter is, this young man, this leader of Turning Point USA, reached out to me and saw something I had done. And he felt so moved that he reached out to me himself to encourage me. And then he went a step further. He invited me to the BLS, which is the Black Leadership Summit Turning Point USA was putting on in Washington, D.C. I told him, transparently, I was in between jobs and didn't have the money to fund my trip. He told me that they had scholarships available and to email him directly and he'd be able to take care of it. I did, and that's the story of how I got to be a part of the Young Black Leadership Summit, which was instrumental in springboarding me to where I am today. Now I share that story because he didn't have to do that. And if he was a racist person, why would he do that? I'm so tired of people being besmirched by the tired liberal lie that anyone they don't like has to be some sort of racist. And I'm not immune to this. They call me racist myself. Of course, it's ridiculous on its face, but this is the nonsensical nature of your average leftist. They really want you to believe deep down Charlie Kirk hated all black people. He saw the best in everyone. He saw in me something I didn't even quite see in myself at the time, and he chose to encourage me. That is why I will literally and metaphorically pick up that mic and continue the work that he started, because I myself and many others are tired of being slandered and maligned by individuals who have nothing to sell us but fear, panic, and lies 24/7. I had to share that story with you. I thought about keeping that to myself, but the more I see him being typecast as some sort of evil person, the more I cannot be silent, and I hope that you will not be silent as well. It is time for action like never before. It is time for voices to rise like never before, and I hope you will join me in that effort. So that is the real Charlie Kirk, the one they don't want you to know, but the one I will continue to remember and honor with my actions into the future. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully you share, and hopefully you get busy as well, because we all have microphones to pick up, and we are all Charlie Kirk.
Welcome back to More War Monday. The Rob Maness Show is live on Worldview Tube and our X Spaces simulcast. We must continue to engage in the war for the truth. We support efforts to honor Charlie Kirk in order to knock down the lies everywhere. And folks, 10 days ago, the Military Times published an article stating that motions to honor Charlie Kirk by members of the Air Force Academy's Association of Graduates had been withdrawn, implying in the article the withdrawal was under pressure from members opposing the idea, presumably because they believed he was racist and a controversial figure instead of the strong patriot and man of faith that he was. President Donald Trump appointed Mr. Kirk in March to join the Academy's Board of Visitors. It's a very important group that meets several times a year to provide advice on issues including curriculum, student morale, and academic methods. And when I saw the article, I reached out to a member of the AOG board and got an immediate response: fake news. And my guest today is retired Lieutenant General Rod Bishop, United States Air Force. General Bishop held many key positions throughout the U.S. Air Force, where he commanded airmen at every operational level, including 2 squadrons, an operations group, an airlift wing, a numbered Air Force, and Air Command Europe, while also completing numerous strategic Air Force and joint assignments throughout the Department of Defense. He is chairman emeritus of Stand Together Against Racism and Radicalism in the Services, otherwise known as STARS. You can find them at stars.us. And he is the Air Force Academy Association of Graduates board member that submitted the motions to honor Charlie Kirk. General Bishop, sir, welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's been too long.
Hey, Rob, so good to be back with you.
Yeah, I was researching for this show. I went back to our very first visit together over 4 years ago
Wow,
about this very issue,
pretty much.
the issue of getting people framed and smeared so that their reputations are difficult to hold up in the public. And I appreciate you coming on.
Well, very good. I look forward to as you accurately painted Charlie Kirk did in his life, getting the truth out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sir, let's remind everybody, if you don't mind, just why STARS was started. I think that's a very important piece of the story. And then how you came to be a member of the board of directors and the Association of Graduates, because those two are linked, aren't they?
They are very much so. STARS was started because our football coaches put together a 3-minute video in which Black Lives Matter, the slogan of the organization, was essentially chanted 7 times in that 3-minute video. We engaged with the superintendent over a period of like 3 months, trying to get him to understand that what that issue was going to be divisive. Unfortunately, standing up against that infusion of basically Marxist ideology is seen to be divisive rather than the other way around. Black Lives Matter, I think, as we all know, they told us they were Marxists, they're against the Western nuclear family, they're looking to overturn capitalism. Why a military academy would allow its coaches to chant that slogan is beyond me and thousands of other cadets. So we stood up STARS. And then, fast forward, we eventually got the video down, but we saw elements of critical race theory, DEI, creeping in, not only to Air Force organizations, but across the services. And then some of our younger supporters said, hey, take on the vaccine mandate, will you? This is illegal. And we initially just shrugged our shoulders, hey, you're in the military. But the deeper we dug, we found ground truth there. And I think one of STAR's proudest accomplishments is at least helping significantly in getting the vaccine mandate overturned. So now fast forward to the Association of Graduates. I can't say that I was a willing volunteer. I mean, I love my academy. I love my alma mater. However, I figured I had given 5 years of my life, but I was somewhat pushed into, hey, keep standing up. You have a duty, so okay, take it on. What I see there is still an ideological divide, and I think part of that ideological divide is caused because under previous administrations we never had that professional dialogue that the association's articles of incorporation call us to do. Quote, promote a professional dialogue. Instead, disagreements about DEI, its Marxist roots, its intent to divide, et cetera, were just swept under the rug. So there's the connectivity, and I think we can all see it happen through the person, the man that Charlie Kirk was.
Yeah, so I wasn't surprised to see attempts to honor Mr. Kirk at the Air Force Academy and by the Association of Graduates, at least some of the members anyway, because he had done his first Board of Visitors meeting, and folks. The Board of Visitors is a critically important set of political appointees that really can drive almost everything at the Academy, isn't it, sir?
Very, very much so. I mean, STARS had met with a number of Board of Visitors members ahead of time. Two of the congressmen on the board twice, Charlie Kirk a number of times. In fact, Charlie had started a signal chat so we could keep them informed of what was going on, what cadets were telling us, et cetera. So like you, Rob, I was not surprised either. I was the recipient of tens of emails, phone calls. Hey, we have to find a way to honor Charlie. I would say that we have to find a way to honor a member of our Board of Visitors who was assassinated doing exactly what our founding fathers wanted us to do as a nation, have a robust dialogue. I mean, he was killed under a tent that said, "Prove me wrong, let's talk about it." And so the initiatives that came in were three groups. One was to make him an honorary grad. That one I thought, although I like ideas, nobody I'd rather have be a fellow grad, to be honest. I thought that was a long shot because it's a very high bar, 80%, short tenure. The bylaws say 25 living grads. And maybe could have gone through, but I had planned on withdrawing that one. The second one I kind of was my favorite, which give them an honorary degree, kind of a fun poke at our back at our West Point friends, since they had allowed them to entry into West Point. Plus, I was just moved by the vision of Erica Kirk walking across the stage next May and seeing Falcon Stadium light up. The third one, give Charlie a special award. Boy, if we can't find a way to honor a Board of Visitors member who was assassinated doing what our country is all about, then boy, we're sunk to a new low.
Yeah, and the Board of Visitors political appointment, you have to agree to do it. I mean, he's a volunteer, essentially personally picked by the president in order to do this. And I thought it was a brilliant selection because it was the Air Force Academy's attempt to really install this Marxist indoctrination, whatever you want to call it, DEI, wokeism, critical race theory, all of that is Marxist indoctrination. And they really did make a concerted effort that the team at STARS fought for years and years and years to really install this as a brick and mortar foundation of values that Air Force officers graduating from the academy would have forever and ever. So Charlie being there, and I don't know how they managed to do it, but they live streamed that first meeting. And it was critically important that people see that there were still some of the same players that had tried to do that still in that meeting briefing as they are leaders of the Air Force Academy. So Charlie got to see that firsthand. And I think he was calling it out, at least privately, more than likely, to get attention on that and help drive this to success. So I think you're right. I was not surprised at all, but I was surprised when I saw that article. That's why I sent it to you. But I hadn't read the whole article when I sent it to you. I didn't realize you were the board member that had submitted the motion, sir, because I didn't get to that part of the article. I was just like, oh my goodness! So they don't really want to do it. It really is shocking.
Well, I ran on a platform. My candidate statement says, "I will work tirelessly to make sure that all graduates' voices are heard." Yeah. So although the first two initiatives, I was either going to withdraw or table, making Charlie an honorary grad and or giving an honorary degree. I mean, if the Air Force wants the honorary degree, they can make that happen. But finding a way to acknowledge the contributions of a Board of Visitors member who is assassinated in the line of duty, so to speak, I just couldn't draw that one because I had promised grads I'd represent them. And as I said at the board meeting, I would feel like I'm disenfranchising the hundreds and I think thousands of graduates that would like to see Charlie Kirk and this situation recognized or memorialized in some way.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, I asked myself, so why is there such hatred or angst against this motion? The one I came up with is pretty obvious, I think. Charlie Kirk was a full-throated Trump supporter. And so those who don't like President Trump are not going to like Charlie Kirk. But over the weekend, I've had a number of conversations with people I highly respect, one of whom is a Black Board Advisor member of STARS, who I think you know, Kendall Qualls. He's running for governor. And I asked him, hey, Kendall, why is this happening? And he says, well, because people haven't come to the realization yet of what DEI was all about. It's meant to divide. And they don't like it that Charlie was pro-merit. And I said, yeah, I guess that's That's correct. And then I had a conversation later that day with a former chief of chaplains of the Air Force. And we're talking about the different reasons. And he says, General Bishop, I'll give you another one. And I said, what's that, chaplain? He said, well, there are elements in our society that are trying to remove God, trying to remove religion from our society. And Charlie was trying to bring it back.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I've stated it openly that I think he was probably the best witness of the gospel of Jesus Christ that in my lifetime, honestly, because he wasn't a formal, like a pastor or anything, and he was doing it in the context of what you talked about, this great service to our country, doing the basic valued thing like freedom of speech on a college campus. And I think that's why a lot of them are opposed to it. And they also have bought into the smear. And that's why we're playing these videos today, sir. All of these videos come from the Stars Unity Slate page link that you sent me. And we'll point people to that page when we post this show. We got to take a commercial break, sir. When we come back, I want to talk about that. The smears and the false narrative about Charlie Kirk and some of the conversations that are going on from the members about that as in regard to these motions. We'll be right back with retired Air Force Lieutenant General Rod Bishop, member of the Association of Graduates at the Air Force Academy Board of Directors.
We have a big announcement, folks. It's called Bella Melt. In the first week, you lost 3 pounds on this, right?
That is correct.
Your GLP-1 is a natural hormone that's in every single one of our bodies. And your GLP-1 lets you know if you're full. It's a satiety hormone. So when your GLP is working properly, it does help suppress your appetite as well as reduce those cravings. So what it's going to do best is it's going to reduce your sugar cravings or any other cravings you have in your body. It's going to suppress that appetite. But where Melissa got the most benefit, I think, over the last week was the L-carnitine. The L-carnitine tells your mitochondria, this is where you make, we've talked about it before, this is where you produce energy in your cells. It actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel.
MelissaHouseBG.com just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 Fast Action.
And I want to give Charlie some credit here, okay? Back in 2019, Charlie Kirk helped a lot of young blacks get to the White House. He changed a lot of their lives. A lot of them never imagined going to the White House, and Charlie helped hundreds of young black boys and girls go to the White House. Charlie, thank you for that.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, man.
So for people who want to call Charlie a racist, kiss my black ass, excuse my language. Charlie Kirk is not a racist.
I love this guy, I'll tell you. And, you know, by the way, I have some New York Times reporters for you to talk to.
Yeah. I'll talk to them.
No, yeah.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's More War Monday, and we have to engage in this war to get the truth put into the American mind, especially about Charlie Kirk. This man, as I said in the last segment, is a patriot, a Christian, and as my guest, retired Lieutenant General Rod Bishop, former chairman of STARS and current board member of the Air Force Academy's Association of Graduates, said he died in the line of duty, in his opinion, and I agree with that. He died in the line of duty, doing what is a core function and core value of the United States of America. Our whole reason for existence is about freedom and the freedom of speech and freedom of thought and freedom to engage without fear of being killed in public, like what happened to Charlie Kirk. General Bishop, welcome back. That was Terrence Williams. He's a very excited activist on the America First trail, and I always enjoy watching him. But when you hear, I'm not privy to the emails the board got on any of the motions, But am I right to presume that some of this was about the smear that Charlie was a racist?
Yeah, Rob, as we get more into specific board issues, I probably need to give the disclaimer I should have given at the opening that I'm here representing myself and not the board.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily go that far. I think that's the assumption. What I felt was pressure. This is not. All the meetings going forward are all going to be live streamed. So I don't think I'm telling any in-house secrets here.
Mm-hmm.
But the board chair and the CEO both asked me to withdraw all three motions. One or two other board members asked me to withdraw all three motions. And I believe, you have to ask them why. But given the letters that we had received the day before on potential donors walking away, there was pressure from where I sit to get it off the table. Was the press release that went to the press misleading? Well, it definitely didn't paint the entire picture. Let me put it that way.
Well, yeah, the article didn't talk about three motions. It talked about two motions.
Yeah, same with. I heard it. I spent 2.5 hours a week ago today with the Colorado Springs Gazette reporter, and she said, "Well, why are you mad at me? Let me look at the press release." And I wasn't mad at her. I'm just asking her, can we please just get the truth out there? And the truth is that not all motions were withdrawn. In fact, the motion that I amended to make sure we find an appropriate way of, I had honor, but it was changed to recognize, Charlie Kirk passed by a vote of 9-4. So to me, that's the truth. So let's not leave the public with the falsehood that, hey, they took it off the table. They caved to the pressure of potential donors walking away. It's just not true.
Yeah, that's why I sent you the link. When I first saw it, I'm like, what? That's what the impression they planted even in a person like my mind, who is, 100% for this and everything. And they didn't talk about the third motion. They didn't talk about that it had passed. So how does this, I guess I should ask about the board itself. You and some others ran on something called the Unity Slate to get elected to the AOG board of directors. For what reason?
Well, part of it stems back to the first question you asked me about stars. Stars, although people conflate the Unity Slate with stars, they're not one and the same. Right. Stars the Unity Slate may have emanated from stars people, but who are not all stars. And it's just people that want to have, in accordance with our articles of incorporation, a professional dialogue, and not sweep things under the rug, not paper things over. We are no closer together as a graduate community because we did not engage in an open and honest and professional dialogue on DEI. Now, you can't convince everybody. Some people are going to be convinced until the day they die that DEI did not come from Marxist roots, did not have the desire to divide people. I just said, hey, tell me where else it came from if it didn't come from the Frankfurt School. And you don't think we're divided as a community? Look at us. Can't we work our way through this? What is it that you like about the way DEI was enacted? So the Unity Slate ran on a very simple platform, Rob. It was give grads a voice, because grads who felt like we should be having the professional dialogue were being pushed to the side. Transparency. Why is there so much? Why does it take you 3 years to find out what organization or what part of the Association of Graduates paid for an over-the-top political book like George Sakai's book that was issued to every freshman? So transparency, grads a voice, and now that it's basically in law, merit. That's a way definitely at getting after DEI. DEI was anti-merit. The E in DEI stands for equity, not the American dream of equality for all. It stands for equity. In my mind, equity is the government cooking the books to ensure equal outcomes. I'm all for the playing field being leveled. I hope we do a better job as a nation of leveling the playing field. But I think it needs to be done at an earlier time in one's life. So when you don't have to discriminate to try and level the playing field, it's not working. And if you do it at an earlier time in one's life, then hopefully you don't affect the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of somebody that may be more qualified for the slot that you just took away.
Yeah. So the previous board, did things like the example you gave, took years to answer the question about George Takei's book, which is extremely partisan and political. And I think that's an important question that people, or a point that people need to understand, that there's one thing about the politics of, earning promotion or assignments or whatever in the military. And there's a totally different thing that we generally in our profession, especially the officers, have pushed back against, and that is partisan ideological indoctrination, infiltrating the services any way whatsoever. We have traditionally tried to eliminate that type of thinking as we bring members in through the accession programs, especially the Air Force Academy, and teach Americanism, essentially. Well, like our friend Dennis Ha wrote about and talked about many times, and that is that it's about the Declaration of Independence and the foundations of it, the Constitution of the United States, and defending that Constitution. And this book that we're talking about is very partisan. It's written from a partisan, political, ideological perspective. And I was shocked to learn that story and realize that had happened. But that's just one example. So the board went from that to what was the outcome of the election, sir? Just to briefly explain how it played out with the unity slate.
Yeah, there were 16 candidates running for 5 open slots, and all 5 unity candidates filled all 5 slots, defeating 3 incumbents. Now, I don't like to brag about that because that seems somewhat divisive, but that's ground truth. And, the chances of that happening randomly, if you ask AI, are 1 in 4,368. So to me, the graduate community spoke and said, hey, yeah, what you guys are saying is right. Mm-hmm. And, when you look at what you just said, Rob, about the oath, I would invite your viewers and listeners to go to the STARS website and see Charlie's words at the Board of Visitors. I mean, he spent a day and a half, I think, with cadets ahead of time. Read the article from Democratic Congressman, black man, Don Davis from North Carolina, and Congressman, Republican, white man, August Pfluger, about how the cadets gravitated to him. In fact, the week after he died, after he was assassinated, he was supposed to come back to the academy, have an event with them, and he was going to do what he was chartered to do by the president and the Secretary of War, root out any vestiges of DEI. And so when you read his last words at that Board of Visitors, it goes right to what you just said, the oath of office. We got the what and the why. Cadets kind of understand that, the A, B's, and C's, but why are they serving? What is causing them to hopefully dedicate a lifetime of service to our country? And that's where Charlie was so inspirational.
Yeah, for a young man, I met him when I think he was still 19 when I met him, when he first started going to college campuses, and I entered the political arena. And I was surprised, but mostly I was awed by this guy's ability to not just articulate and communicate with students, and the willingness to do that opposed him vehemently, but with the depth of his knowledge and his intellect on these subjects, way beyond the basics of the writers of the Declaration of Independence, and back into antiquity history of the great scholars and philosophers like Aristotle. And Charlie was just an amazing man like that. Well, sir, we got to take a break. We'll see a little clip when we come back of Charlie asking, why are we talking about race all the time now?
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
So, like, what defines where one race ends and where one race begins?
Depends who you're asking. I think race is completely and totally irrelevant. Do you think race is relevant?
No.
Okay, then why are we talking about race all the time, and why are we talking about critical race theory?
Well, you brought it up at first when you were doing your speech.
Right,
so,
remember I said it was a lie from the pit of hell that we should repudiate and stop talking about all the time? You're on scholarship?
Sorry, what?
Nothing. Sorry, go ahead.
So, to answer your question, I don't think that race means anything, and I guess you don't either, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, then why do you keep bringing up race whenever you're on or speaking on a stage? I am not speaking on a stage bringing up critical race theory. You are.
No.
So.
I'm bringing up how critical race theory destroys society and how we shouldn't talk about race all the time.
Okay. But you're bringing up race.
No, critical race theory, not race.
Okay, so what's the second word in that?
Yeah, it's race, but it's a theory of how to view race, of which is a mind virus pathogen destroying America, of which I said again, just to reemphasize for those in the back, we could replay the tape, we'd throw the red flag, we'll watch it over again. I said that what? Race means nothing. I care about your actions, your character, and most importantly, your soul. Thank you for being here tonight.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show, and we're still fighting the war for the truth. And right there, you see it once again in this show. You will have seen 4 of these types of clips about Charlie Kirk and what he really was, the truth, a godly, faithful patriot that believed not only in this country, but believed in being a Christian and faithful man for his wife and his family and for all those he came in contact with, especially those who vehemently opposed him, and he gave them an opportunity to voice their opposition each and every time. That's what America is all about, right there. And my guest today is retired Air Force Lieutenant General Rod Bishop, I guess, sir, I should say the disclaimer that neither one of us speaks for the Department of War or the Department of the Air Force. It's only on our own behalf, since we're both retired commissioned officers. I'll just throw that in. In addition to you, you're not speaking for the Board of Directors of the Association of Graduates at the Academy. You're speaking in your own right, just to put the point on that. But, the board itself, so on this Association of Graduates, is it split? Is there a majority of the people that still think the same way the last board thought, or what's the laydown that occurred?
Yeah, can I come back to that in just a second? If I forget,
Sure.
remind me. Your opening comment there, Rob, just so powerful, because this is the crux of the issue, and that's a great clip, because I think you and I were probably brought up that. Under the Martin Luther King doctrine, that I don't care how much melanin you have in your skin, I care about the content of your character. And that's exactly how I was brought up. But I think there's certainly a movement afoot that, you may remember the slides that Stars exposed where critical race theory was being taught to cadets, in which they said be color conscious, not color blind. That potentially is, right at the crux of the issue is that we're talking about. I'd prefer to look at my fellow Americans just as Americans. Why do that we have to have hyphenated words in front of them, Asian or black? The commands I had in my life, I just would stand up in front of the troops. It was just such a heartwarming feeling to look out at a mixture of the human race. But now we want to divide, and that's exactly what cadets have told us. It's identity politics on steroids. That's exactly what DEI is all about. So with that as a segue to answer your question, I'd say there's about 50% of the board that feel like you and I do on that, and 50% of the board that feels otherwise.
Yeah. And on the issues of recognizing Charlie and in some way for his service to the nation and to the academy, is that you said that motion 3 passed 9-4. So obviously, we still have Americans that have worn the uniform that can be persuaded. Is that a good news story?
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? I had to kind of laugh at the end of Friday evening because everything turned out exactly how I thought it would and exactly how I planned it to be. The problem was there were just elements in our society that made it difficult to get to that point and created division. I mean, there are at least 3 left-leaning organizations that activated, that whipped up everybody into a frenzy to oppose this nomination. But you can see in the end, when the motion was amended to find an appropriate way to recognize Charlie Kirk. I mean, it's better than 2-1 on the board. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm proud to call him a fellow airman. I think that's what I believe. The president appointed him. He served. And even in that one, and I didn't get to watch the whole video or read the entire transcript of it, but in that one meeting, you could tell that he was going to be not just formidable, but a advocate for the cadets and an advocate for cadets to be that when they graduate, they understood that their oath meant serving the United States of America and serving to defend and support that Constitution that created it and nothing else. And that, to me, makes him a fellow airman. I'd like to see him at least called that he is a member of our brother and sisterhood of warriors.
Well, that's another avenue we can also explore. Chief Mosley created that honorary airman aspect, but I'm serving on the AOG board, and I thought, given the input I've had from tens of graduates, that and again, I didn't take those requests or nominations just on face value. I went out to younger grads, guy in pilot training just graduated. What do you think of this? Oh, I love the idea. All 3 of them. Well, what do you think the rest of your unit? Oh, they'd love it. Went out to older grads, 2018 grads. What do you think of this? Oh, man, what a great idea. Older grads back in the 60s. Oh, super idea. Didn't get one negative. Now, admittedly, I probably travel in more conservative circles. However, every time you ask, what's the rest of your unit? How do you think they would feel about it? And I always go, it would be strongly endorsed. So it's only these people who haven't, as that Black Board of Advisor member shared with me, haven't assimilated the division that DEI has caused across our country and haven't bought into color blind versus color conscious. I think we as a nation have to decide where we want to go. To me, when you're in a military unit, you're all one. So I want to be colorblind. We all bleed red. But there seems to be a push that, no, I want you to recognize the color of my skin first. Oh, okay. But not very unifying, in my opinion.
Yeah, sometimes the answer to some of these big challenges, and I think you're going to see in the last clip that we show here, sir, Charlie is going to be talking about how this division along race lines has only reemerged over the last 10 years because, 10 years ago, we all thought, man, we are on a good course correction and really coming close to the right course line on race relations in America, especially with the election of Barack Obama to the presidency. And I think he thought that too. And that it's been this last 10 years of this infiltration of critical race theory, the Marxism behind it, which is a stated goal of that ideology is to divide societies to make your power base able to take control and impose your ideology of Marxism, in this case, on that society because it's weakened it.
Amen, Rob. One of the things I said at the board was, we ran on a platform of giving grads a voice. In fact, I said this to the public affairs person as he was going out to meet with the press. He said, hey, I got a great quote for you. And the quote is, we've done a great job of giving grads a voice, but we haven't done a very good job of following our articles of incorporation, which tell us, quote, to promote a professional dialogue. And if anybody thinks that I'm going to roll over on not promoting the professional dialogue, I'm sorry. That's our stated bottom line corporation objective.
And that objective, sir, let me just make sure the audience understands that. Am I correct in assuming that objective is not just a professional dialogue amongst yourselves or even amongst graduates, but amongst cadets, graduates, and the larger population of citizens that we come into contact with, right?
It's certainly among cadets and officer corps. And graduates for sure. Whether or not society as a whole, I don't believe those words are in there. But I mean, if you're having that discussion and you're on shows like I'm on your show and I'm on a local television channel this afternoon, the rest of the public's going to get it. Let's have that professional dialogue. Why in the world do you feel the way you do about a man who said how he wanted to be remembered by was the courage of his faith? A man who just exuded the values of what we think we would like to have in every single officer or cadet that graduates from the Air Force Academy. I mean, patriotism, that fervent love of country, freedom of speech. I mean, I believe he had a freedom T-shirt on. The ability to critically think. I mean, that last clip, look how he was getting that young man to critically think about race. I mean, that's what we want in people. Not somebody that's ideologically aligned.
Yeah, and I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, but I've watched I don't know how many hundreds, maybe 1,000 clips since he passed. But I was not he was not unknown to me, obviously. So I've seen him in person and online on video and audio thousands and thousands of times since 2013. The interesting thing about him, when you say the professional dialogue piece of it, every time that what comes to my mind when thinking about Charlie Kirk in that context is that he was always as professional as he could be. That's how he was able to persuade people, is because he presented himself professionally and didn't get in a fight even with the opposition folks who were trying to start a fight with him. He did it in a professional way every time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. One gentleman, a doctor, did an analysis, tried to take out any political algorithms that could be in there of over 100 videos. And in those 100 videos, I believe the number was 44 came back with no name calling. 56 came back with name calling, and it was mostly aimed at Charlie, you're Hitler, you're a racist, you're stupid, And then he takes in, there was 11 clips where Charlie answered back. And every single one of them are then they're explained, but there's only 3 where he called somebody names, one individual a name. He called them a sinner, broken, and selfish. And who is he calling those names? Himself.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, sir, we got to take our last break. When we come back, we will see him take on a white racist. You may be arguable that this is not professional, but I think it's very professional considering the fiery nature of this topic amongst all Americans when presented with a racist trope. We'll be right back with Lieutenant General Rod Bishop. We're talking about recognizing and honoring Charlie Kirk on behalf of the Air Force Academy Association of Graduates in that effort, and how he ought to be recognized everywhere as a great American and Christian. We'll be right back.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Go to worldviewhealthcare.com. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. worldviewhealthcare.com. That's worldviewhealthcare.com.
The emergency kit available at worldviewhealthcare.com. Make sure you don't have to go to urgent care. I got pneumonia. I didn't have to go. I took this last year. Stayed at home, went to bed.
I want to ask a question of you. What does it mean to be an American? Is it an idea or a history, a shared history, or is it a skin color?
Well, I mean, you could go back to the original founding fathers, the Immigration Act of, I believe it was.
What does it mean to be an American? Is it a skin color or something else?
So there's the current idea of what it means according to, the Hart-Celler Immigration Act and, all this bullshit that you guys spew. But if you go back to the original founding fathers, they intended this to be a European nation for white men of good stock and character.
So, can you show me? Let me answer the question. Can you show me where in the United States Constitution it says that?
It wasn't in the Constitution.
It wasn't in the Constitution because they didn't believe it.
The founding.
You, sir, they did not put it in the United States Constitution. Let me answer another question. Let me ask you another question since you support. Allow him to have the mic. Let me ask you another question,
founding
sir.
Fathers wrote many
what
other
does the
documents
phrase,
other than the United States Constitution, and they made it explicitly clear.
What does the phrase "e pluribus unum" mean? What does the phrase "e pluribus unum" mean?
Why is that relevant?
Because it was on every founding document and presidential seal from our founding, which means out of many, one. You, sir, and your ideology is not conservative. It is right-wing, identitarian. It has no place in the conservative movement, my friend. Get out of line. Get out of line. USA, 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 USA.
Welcome back to the Rod Maness Show. We're still fighting the war for the truth. It's endless, and we'll have to stay in this fight for as long as we all live in order to make sure the truth is known, especially about people like Charlie Kirk, who is a patriot, a Christian, a witness for the gospel of Jesus Christ, and devoted to this country's values. And you saw that right there on how he did something very difficult. It's very difficult for people that are considered to be on the right, especially public figures, to be able to take on someone on the extreme right, like what you saw from that white racist right there, trying to say this country was founded and intended only for European white men, which nothing could be further from the truth. And Charlie Kirk did a fabulous job. Absolutely. It was so elegant and well done that there is no argument you can make. And my guest today is retired Air Force Lieutenant General Rod Bishop. And he's on the board of directors of the Air Force Academy Association of Graduates. Actually was the man that made the 3 motions. The article came out 10 days ago that the motions were withdrawn, seemingly under some pressure, but the article was fake news because there were 3 motions and one of them passed. Sir, welcome back. And I think even that exchange, as heated as it got, was very professional. That's a professional dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you said it right there, Rob. I mean, what we are all about is just trying to promote the truth. And let's wipe away, the hype. Let's just get down to what's ground truth. And that's why in this particular case, I mean, you keep giving me credit for producing or making those motions. Again, I wish they were mine. They weren't. I was presenting them on behalf of other grads who I represent. I socialized them, I thought, fairly extensively before I brought them forward. And my broader purpose here, beyond just honoring a man who was assassinated while in the line of duty, is to promote that professional dialogue and help Americans ourselves learn the ground truth. And I think when people know the Charlie Kirk that you and I know, I mean, there's no question that he deserves an appropriate award.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind, and to be honored by the Air Force Academy and the larger Air Force, as a matter of fact. And maybe that even that West Point crowd that didn't give him admission could give him some honors too, because his voice was really a large part of what the MacArthur Society, which sprang out of the STARS effort, and the Calvert Group at the U.S. Naval Academy that also, I believe, sprang out of the STARS larger effort. And when graduates there saw what was going on, and I think Charlie Kirk's messaging has girded those missions all along the way.
Yeah, for sure. Charlie's messaging, as you say, was about as down-home American as you can get it. Faith, family, freedom. Golly, don't we all want to stand for those things?
Exactly. And you mentioned Kendall Qualls. I heard you say he was running for governor, but I didn't hear the state. Do you mind saying the state, sir?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Fantastic. I wanted to make sure I had that right.
In fact, ironically, when I spoke with him the other day, he was on his way to a Turning Point USA rally.
That's awesome. Well, I just got reached out to this morning by, and I live on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi now, by the new Turning Point chapter at the Southeastern Louisiana University, which is to the west of us, not too far away, saying, hey, we're looking for speakers. Can we put you on our list? So I'm excited to see all these new chapters. And I think it says everything. It tells the story. When I think there were like 9,000 chapters the day Charlie died, or some number around there. And I think they've gotten over 100,000 requests at this point. I've lost track of the numbers because I don't see it every day. But it's amazing what's happening in this country, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Charlie was a generational figure, and his message is such a spiritual and motivational uplift for so many. When you see the thousands, tens of thousands on college campuses around the country, essentially reinforcing Charlie's message, freedom, USA, faith, family. I mean, what did he tell people? He said, get married early and have more kids than you can afford. I mean, let our ideas spread. And so I have a hard time believing that the United States Air Force Academy eventually won't come to the right conclusion. As just look across the college campuses elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to spend the last few minutes just talking about what you see is happening today in the Department of War with the various efforts that STARS and you and people like me and Charlie have had some influence on to get moving in the right direction, to come back to course. And then what the future outlook looks like, to include with the Air Force Academy, how things are going under President Trump's commander-in-chief and second administration, where he has actually given the orders to make these corrections. How's it going from your perspective?
I'd say pretty well. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I decided to resign as the chairman of the board of STARS. I mean, it's pretty hard to imagine higher success that we could have had to this point. STARS had two strategic goals. One was to educate people on DEI and hopefully eliminate it. Still some work to do there. I think it's eliminated. The orders are in place. We've educated enough people about the harm that it does. But there's still probably 20 to 30% of those serving, at least according to what cadets tell me, that believe in the ideology. So the work to be done, I think, going forward, is to get into the curriculum and teach about critical race theory, teach about diversity, equity, inclusion, instruct people on its roots and where it came from and why it's divisive, why it had this intent, the great Marxist revolution, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's how hopefully we'll prevent it from coming back. And then the second strategic goal is to end the vaccine mandate. Certainly, although we didn't do it alone, I like to say the collective we. The mandate is ended, but it's taking too long to get the remedies. And we do need a forcing function, a board or a review board or a task force to review what the heck went wrong. I mean, why in the world did our country, our military, go down a road that was so clearly and blatantly breaking the laws of our land? That's the second time in 20 years. We can't use our military population as guinea pigs. We need to play by the rules. We're a republic. It's based on the laws. We can't toss the laws aside.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm sure you're aware, I'm in daily contact with the what I would call the action officer level of the groups of young service members that were harmed and had to get out or were forced out, and some that even stayed, like Commander Rob Green, who's still on active duty, but facing an investigation because one of the biggest concerns that I hear every single day, it never goes away, even with the young man that was court-martialed, the Army officer that was Air Force E8, I believe, before he got commissioned, Mark Bashaw, who we've interviewed on here a couple of times. His court-martial was overturned. He's been reinstated, I think, as of yesterday, fully promoted to the rank he's supposed to be, and that's all good news. But the one thing that I keep hearing, sir, is that, well, how are we going to get people to come back in at the numbers that I know the president and the Secretary of War would like to see, large numbers, when the same individuals that were in charge have been promoted or are being promoted? I mean, even the current nominee for the Chief of Staff of the Air Force has been subjected to that criticism. And it seems to be happening over and over again. What do you think a task force would help along those lines on the personnel side?
Yeah, I kind of think it's a two-pronged attack, Rob. One of the things that we've recommended, and we were hoping to go to Washington at the invite of Undersecretary Data this week, but with the government closure, I think that will be delayed a little bit. But I do hope we get to make the case. And it's a two-pronged attack. Number one, we need to speed up the BCMR process. You know, what most people don't realize, they probably read in the news, hey, 8,400 or so were kicked out of the military. But the number is closer to 95,000 that left because of this vaccine mandate. That's a huge number. If we want them to come back, one of the biggest things that we have to do is restore the trust and confidence in the leadership. Because aside from physical harm from the COVID mandate or from the COVID vaccine, besides the record harm, the promotion harm, the career harm that was done, one of the biggest harms was it was a knife in the gut to trust and confidence in the leadership. So many of them knew what was going on was wrong. And,
exactly right, sir. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a good news story, folks, but we have to stay in this war to fight for the truth, to knock down the lies. And General Bishop, sir, I know you'll stay in the fight as long as you can. I will. And please give everybody out there my regards.
Thanks very much, Rob, and thanks for helping me get the truth out there. You know, somebody the other day said, I'm considered the Trump of the AOG board, and I answered by saying, that might be a good compliment, but I'd rather be the Charlie Kirk of the AOG board.
Affirmative, sir. That's what I'm going to call you, the Charlie Kirk of the AOG board. I appreciate that. Tomorrow's Training Tuesday, folks. And Tom Sauer, former EOD officer from the United States Navy, but a small business owner in the healthcare industry that helps veterans with PTSD, is going to be on here to talk about how small businesses like his are at risk because the VA is not properly doing community care, and it's crushing their ability to continue to operate. I'll see you then.